guys, Justin here from Team Shenanigans, and today I will be bringing you guys the deck profile of the deck I used at ARG Charlotte, and as you can see I was actually able to make top 8. I was really excited because I haven't been doing well in Bushy Road tournaments here lately. You know, Vanguard's best of 1, and then just the way Vanguard is, and it can be kind of disheartening. So I was really happy to go to an ARG, even though it's a smaller event. Still, there was a lot of good players there, and I was actually able to make top 8. So this is going to be my deck profile / tournament report of like what I played and what I played against. So first of all, I played Thing Blaster, like Thing Saber with the Blaster engine and everything. I chose this deck because it's really fun. I like it. I love the deck. It utilizes like early game combos with Lou, and along with like the late game power strides, making huge power columns, comboing with your blaster blades, getting your extra attacks with Flogles and Lou's, and restanding with Thing Saber and all that stuff. So I chose like I play like several different role decks. The only deck I really don't like is Sanctuary Guard, just because, I don't know, I've just never really liked it that much. I think it's a really good deck, it's a really scary deck, it's just not really me. I like to be able to do, like, I don't know. I just like Thing Saber better, mainly because of the Link Joker matchup, where like if they lock your columns, you can at least get your double standoff with Thing Saber. So, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. Of course, my starter is Wingull Brave because it's the best starter for the deck. It can boost any blaster and then go to Soul and fetch any blaster from your deck. So it can ensure you're not grade locked. It can fetch you that grade 3 for stride fodder. It can fetch you that grade 2 you need or the grade 1 you need. So Wingull Brave, best card. And actually throughout the tournament, only one guy didn't let this hit ever. And it was a very smart move on his part. It just, things kind of fell in his favor where he could do that and try to make me really work for my soul and everything. So kudos to him, and I'll get to more of that later. So Wingull Brave, and the grade 3s run 4 copies of Thing Saber Dragon. Of course it's Legion. It legions with Blaster Blade Seeker, plus 2k when it attacks. So it's swinging for 22 in Legion. And at the end of the attack, you can counter, if it's in Legion, you can counter blast 2, soul blast 3, discard 2, ride a copy from the deck, and then like Legion with the Blaster Blade, Seeker, and the Soul. So this is your main win condition against like Link Joker and stuff, and well, Link Joker and stuff, against Link Joker really. And it's just an extra finisher if like you feel like a stride isn't going to quite do it, and can be really devastating with like all the to get 3 attacks with this, along with like your extra attacks and all your unflipping with your bar holes and everything. So it's an amazing card. So I run 4 Thing Saver, and then I run 1 copy of Majesty Lord Blaster. Just 1 copy of him because sometimes like if your opponent wants to play the grade 2 game, you this guy's pretty easy to set up if you get your Wingull Brave off and draw into a Lou with a Barkle or a Floggle, and because you run 4 Blaster Blades and everything. So it's good early game pressure if you need to do it. Other than that, I really only used it for stride fodder, or if I absolutely had to ride it, which I can't really remember if I actually ever had to ride him in the tournament. I think I got really lucky where I would always have another grade 3. So I would just use Wingull Brave. If I ever searched him out, it would just ensure that I had stride fodder. And then I used to run 2 MLB, but like looking at the Japanese versions of the deck and everything, and then I believe it was the deck that won Germany. Everybody was running 1 copy of Alt Mile, so I decided to kind of try it out. And actually, it never really, in playtesting, it never really did anything for me. I just chose to keep it in because let's say you have to search MLB out and then you have a stride fodder in hand. I would rather ride an Alt Mile than an MLB, honestly, because you can at least get those big power columns with his skill and everything to really boost up your Blaster Blades. And this card actually won me a couple games. I actually was able to like G-assist into this. The one time I had to G-assist, I think, was in top 8. And IG assisted into this guy and just went off, and while my opponent was at 5 damage, and it was just beautiful. So he won me maybe 2 games, well, at least 1 game, and actually came in handy in a couple other games. So just making power columns is really cool. So 6 grade 3s. Moving on to grade 2s, we reached the true MVP of the deck, and that is Favored Disciple of Light and Dark Blue. This card is just amazing, my favorite card in the deck. This is what wins you games, does all that early pressure, aggravates your opponent, just because it's not GB, it hits power number, it hits you know, those magic numbers on their 9k Vanguard, 7k Vanguard, whatever. Just an amazing card. If it's boosted by a Floral Paladin Flogel or a Blaster Friend Barkle, it gains plus 3k? Yeah. So it's a 19k attacker with a Barkle behind it, a 16k attacker with a Flogel behind it. So you have that Barkle behind it, and swing on the 9k Vanguard, 10k. It's a 15k to guard. So ensures that early damage so you can finish them off later. Then makes even bigger power columns when you go into your alt mile stride, and just really great card. And then at the end of its attack, so you know it doesn't matter if it hits or not, you counterblast 1, put it in soul, search your deck for any blaster unit, call it, and give it power +3. So there's so many combos. Gives you all those extra attacks. Next, run 4 copies of OG Blaster Blade with the awesome trial deck artwork. When it's placed on Vanguard or Regard, counterblast 2, pop grade 2 or the higher in the front row or whatever. But you don't really run it for its effect. I did do it a couple times just because I called it in front of a Barkle, and you know, Barkle skill you unflip. It's like the Blaster Dark Revenger and Dorant combo. So it's basically CB1 to retire. So I did do it maybe once or twice throughout the day, but you never really use it for that. You use it for like the unflipping and just to restand with Flogel and just to call out with blue. It's combos. Next, I run 2 copies of Blaster Dark, just as an extra blaster search target, and just another Blaster grade 2. And since I only run 1 MLB, just run 2 Dark because there's really no reason not to. It's there if you need it, and I was able to get 1 awesome SP. You know, you have to. Next, I actually only run 2 copies of Blaster Blade Seeker. Yeah, I don't know. I know I don't have the Thing Saver artwork, so I'm trial deck and Alfred Legionate artwork because my great friend Aaron gave this to me because he's awesome. Great card. If you have a Seeker Vanguard when it's placed, counterblast 1, retire front row. So, really good card. And it's mainly just your Legionate for Thing Saver. You don't really need 2 copies of it. You just have to play smart. You know, if you damage 1 early or have to ride 1 early, you know, okay, let me go ahead and search this out with blue, so I know it can at least go to my drop zone, so I won't be locked out of Legion. So you just have to play smart. And you know, I just chose to run different cards rather than running a 3rd copy of him. Because, I mean, yeah, you could take 1. Yeah, if it's your preference, you can take 1 Blaster Dark out and run through this, but I like the consistency. If I do have to do the MLB play, to at least have 2 Darks in the deck. And last grade 2, 1 Blaster Blade Spirit. Really good for a 10k base. You can search it out if you rode a Blaster grade 1 and guarantee ride. And playing the grade 2 game with my opponent, I would lock them out of Sabreeze by making sure I search this out, ride a 9k, and then next turn ride a 10k, ride this guy, and just keep pressuring on the blues and Flogels and restanding and everything, and they really just couldn't keep up. You know, some decks like, you know, Great Nature and stuff, it's just like, well, I'm just not gonna let you, you know, stride. Sorry, I'm being a scumbag, but if I'm in a bad position, and you have to do it. So on to the grade 1s, 4 copies of Unflipping PGs because you use a lot of counterblasts in this deck, and an extra outlet to unflip your counterblast is always nice. You don't really care about your opponent attacking your front row because you can search out grade 2s like crazy in this deck. mean, like Kagero and is a thing and everything. And D-Police, I didn't play any D-Police, but you run through like at least one copy, it doesn't mean that use it anymore. Next, 4 copies of Stride Enabler, because you want to be able to stride. And again, you can search out an alt mile with it if you really want to. Then 4 copies of Blaster Firm Barcall. Oh, already went over this card a little bit. You know, when a Blaster Blade is called in front of it, you can unflip a damage if you have a Blaster Vanguard. So you have to either be on any of your blasters or in Legion Thing Saver. So, and of course the great booster for Lou. And then 2 copies of Laura, another blaster name, 7K Vanguard, and it has resist, so good card. Good card is good. On to the triggers. Run 4 copies of Floral Paladin Flogel, the best crit in the deck. It's amazing. After, if it's on your field, after an attack in which your card with Blaster in its name, well, Blaster in its name, no, that'd be dumb, that your Blaster Blade rearguard attacked your opponent's Vanguard, you may counterblast 1, put this unit back in the deck, and spam that Blaster Blade. So you power your Blaster Blade up, swing with your Vanguard, your Thing Saver, do all your extra restands, stack all the triggers on Blaster Blade, swing, unboosted, doesn't matter if they let it hit or not, Flogel goes away, swing with Blaster Blade again. Just an amazing card. This helps give you all those extra attacks. And 4 copies of Villainous, the Alt Mile crit. If you have to ride Alt Mile early, it's a nice card to do those power columns, or when you stride your Alt Mile, it's just the crit that all Break Stride's got that goes to Soul, and you draw a card and power +5. Helps fuel that Soul for your Thing Saver Blades and everything. So this 8 crit of the deck, and then 4 Marvel. This card loves me. I only had 2 foils a while back ago, and my friend Josh sent me 2 more foils, and thank you so much because these cards came in clutch. I swear these cards just float a little bit, because in a game, if I hit my draws, I would hit at least 3 of them. And it's just like, oh my god, what is happening right now? And then, of course, 4 heals. I just run the Secret Heal because I like the artwork. And you want to build a G-Guard. Onto the Strides. Run 4 copies of Arrow Alt Mile. Just really great stride for the deck. It's usually what you go into. Helps you power up those columns, giving everything +3K for the turn. Even the units you call out with Lou and everything. And if you've already strode or G-guarded once, you go into him. You get to call out a unit and give it power +5. So it's really good for power columns, really good. And now that you have G-Guardians, when you stride into him the first time, if you G-guarded already, you go ahead and get that unit. It's really nice, really nice. Another inspiration I took from the deck that won Germany. Since he was running 1 copy of Alt Mile, he was running this. And I really like the idea of that if you are on Alt Mile and you go into all your Alt Mile strides and it gives late game, having the option go into this guy and really power up your field and everything and hit really huge numbers is really good. I never ever used it, but I really like the idea of having it. And I can't think of anything else I would have rather put in this slot that would have helped me. My G-Zone was really perfect throughout the day. There was nothing else I needed, so I never used it, but I didn't regret having it handy. Next, 2 copies of Religious Soul Saver. Now, this card is amazing. It never outright won me a game all day, but that early game pressure it puts on your opponent and force a PG out, or it's like, oh, I pressured you early, you're already at 2 or 3 damage, I'm going into this, powering up my field, swinging with a crit now, just awesome. You only get the crit if you have a Blaster Heart, I believe, and you get the power if you have 2 or more blasters in Soul. So, it's a really good card. It just takes a little setup, you have to either have strode over your already in Legion thing saver, or or if you're on MLB. So really good card. Next, I really I hadn't been using this card for very long, but I'm so glad I added it in the deck. Blazing Sword Fides, or Fides, people pronounce it differently. It's a very good stride. This card actually won me a lot of games, just being able to, it can be your first stride, you can unflip anything, and this is just the stride that doesn't do anything amazingly, but it does everything well. You can choose to activate this effect, unflip anything from your G-Zone, discard a card, and call a grade 2 out from the deck. Then if the grade 2 you called out was Brave, we'll have the Brave ability, you can draw a card. I don't run any Brave ability cards, so I don't get the perk of that effect. But he also has the ability of, I believe, yeah, it's GB3 Brave. When this unit attacks, if you have a face-up copy of him, so if you either flip him or had went into him before, you can, I think, just retire one of your opponents. Yeah, you just retire one of your opponent's rear guards and give your front row power plus 5k. I never used that effect because I only ever went into him like when I needed to early game or anything. But it's a really good card. I really loved the access to Lu early if I hadn't already G-guarded. You know, you'll always go into, if you already G-guarded or you're already at GB2, you'll always go into Alt Mile first, but if you didn't get the G-guard and you don't have a Lu in hand, you go into this guy first. Discard the Margol or whatever from your hand, the extra grade 3, you know, the extra thing saver that's clogging up your hand, and get that Lu out and start out all your combos. So it's a really good card. Next, 2 copies of St. Blow Dragon. Forgot what its name was. I really, I used to run 4 copies of this, and I really just started not liking the card very much. You know, it's one of our OG good Royal Strides. But this card actually came in clutch for me and won me 2 or 3 games all day. Just randomly, swinging for 2 crit and big power. You just have to, you only really want to go into this guy when you know your opponent doesn't have a PG, so you have to play really smart with it, and it's just a good card. Next, 1 copy of Madu. I actually never used this. I used to use it all the time to, you know, if you rode MLB, just to basically a free stride, discard something, you know, discard the grade 3 and get it back, or if you're in Legion, get that Soul Saver back to ride and re-Legion next turn. But I never really needed it. Again, I didn't regret having it because I never needed anything else I didn't have. Next, the G-Guardians, 2 copies of the plus 5k shield guy if you have a grade 2. The G-Guardian is usually what you end up using. And then 1 copy of Dismal. Just, you know, G-Guard with it, 15k shield, and you give a unit on your field resist and cannot be hit. So, never really needed it for its effect. It was just there, basically for the D-Police matchup, just in case. 1 copy of the new guy that gives you 10k shield if you have 2 grade 2s. I really never got its effect fully off, never really needed it. I guess that's a good thing. So, yeah, just, I chose to go 4 G-Guardians. I used this guy instead of Screw, because I don't really like to discard a Screw, so I chose to go with this guy, because you can strategically make sure you have the plus 10k shield with this guy if you need to. I just never really needed it. So that's the deck profile, guys. If you're wondering what I played against, we went 6 rounds of Swiss before cutting the top 8. Round 1, I actually got matched up against my teammate Jeannie, and it was actually my only loss of the day. She was playing Spike Brothers, and I got game 1, and she got game 2, and then she got game 3. I think game 3 ended up coming down to she had it no matter what. The only way she wouldn't have had it is if she didn't drive check a unit with charge or a trigger. And of course, like, at that point, it's basically, well, I'm praying against all odds, and she just played really good 3 games and was able to pull it out. She's really good to that deck, and Spike Brothers are really scary. Then round 2, I played against Grand Blue. It was actually a guy I had traded some Grand Blue cards to right before the tournament, so I was kind of, I was going to be very annoyed. I was thinking, oh god, if I go into this and lose to this and go 0-2 after, like I'm going to lose to the cards I traded. I traded him, but I was able to pull it out against him. It seemed I was worried he was going to Gotch. Like he went to Gotch, but I was only at 2 damage, so it wasn't that much pressure. He got a stand trigger. It ended up not mattering because again I was only at 2 damage and didn't have a crit at the time. And then his next turn, I was worried he was going to go into Gotch again because I think I was at 4 or 5 at that point. But he had to go into an on hit because I think he actually didn't have another 2. So another 2 Gotch, but Gouch, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, that new, the stride that Grand Blue has that gives everything power. He actually did a couple really good plays with like the G-Guardian, with getting the Cannonball guy out from the drop zone to destroy my Lou or my Blaster Blade on the side. So some really good plays there. He was a really good player, but I was able to pull it out. And going into round 3, I actually played another teammate who's also my wife. She was playing Angel Feather, and I was able to pull it out just because game 1 I hit a bunch of triggers, like a bunch of damage triggers, and I was able to get my double restand off with Thing Saver, I believe, along with all my early game pressure. And then game 2, she just didn't draw any Broken Hearts, and again I hit a bunch of triggers. So I was able to pull it out that way, which really surprised me because we play test all the time here, of course, at home, and she always beats me with that deck. So I was pretty happy. I was just in the zone, you know, and the triggers were. Next round 4, I played against Kagero, and it was the Legend build with the backup, the Legion, the Provision Legion. And it was a really good deck. I'm really confident with my matchup with Kagero, even with their G-Guardians. I'm just confident that I can outpace the deck. You know, it tries to control, but I'm able to get so much early game and then plus late game pressure that with them negging me, even with like timely G-Guardians, I believe I can still out-pressure them and push for the win. And that's exactly what I was able to do. But shout-outs to that guy, he's a really good player. Round 5, I played against Chaos Breaker, and it was actually Jose from Team Absolution. Really cool guy. I think this is the 2nd time I've played him, because you know we always run into the guys since they live right up in North Carolina or in South Carolina. We always run into them at ARGs and all the Bush Road events and everything. Love Team Absolution. They're all a bunch of really cool guys. I was able to pull it out against Jose though. I was really worried about the Chaos Breaker matchup because I practice against my friend, against Aaron, who's our local Link Joker player, all the time, and I have a really hard matchup with it. But game 1, he actually had the G assist, but he got it, and then he was able to do some plays and everything. But I think the G assist really ended up hurting his momentum. Then game 2 was a lot closer because neither of us got grade locked. I was just able to hit a couple timely triggers. I really managed his counterblast and didn't give him all those excess counterblasts to do all his extra plays and everything. And I was just able to play really smart and pull it out. I think that's one game where St. Lo didn't win me the game, but it helped apply a lot of pressure. And I think Thing Saver ended up winning me that game because my front rows were locked. But actually, I think late game I was able to still have a Lou. I was able to have one front row on my Thing Saver double restand. No. I swung with Thing Saver, only got one restand, and because he didn't let my Wingalt Brave hit. So then late game, I was able to dig out 2 Marvels and throw them back both in soul, and had enough soul to get the restand off again while having something on the side to put triggers on. And that was enough to help steal the game for me. Then round 6, I played against Great Nature, and oh, it was very stressful. My friend Matt my friend and teammate Matt here on the channel is our local Great Nature player, so I have a lot of practice against it. This guy's deck was a little different, and his playstyle was a little different, so I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. And it really took me by surprise game 1. He was really smart, played it really smart, drew a lot of cards, and beat me game 1. Yeah. And then I just had to kind of adjust my playstyle, and actually, I think I might have won game 1. My memory is bad, guys. I waited way too long to do this deck profile. Anyway, I was able to pull it out 2-1 against him, just by constantly applying pressure and plowing through that huge hand. He would draw like 9 cards at the end of his turn every time, but I was able to just hit such big power columns and just keep swinging on my multiple swings. I was able to keep digging through it and just scratch and claw my way through it. And he actually ended up, even though he lost to me in round 6, he actually ended up still making it to top 8 and then top 4. So shout out to that guy, really good player. That was the 6 rounds. I went 5-1 in Swiss. They actually said we were only going to do 5 rounds at the beginning of the tournament, but they actually ended up adding an extra round because of records and everything. Then going into top 8, I played another Great Nature player. Just 2 Great Nature decks made it into top 8. This guy was really good. I did lose. I know for sure I lost game 1 to this guy, and he was just able to tempo out with his strides and everything, hit a couple timely triggers, and just out advantage me basically. So this is the guy where I went into game 2 saying, well, this is top 8. There's no way I'm gonna let this happen. And I just had to kind of be the scumbag grade 2 player guy, because he was running Big Belly, so I knew that if I just lock him out of Sabriz, if I stay on grade 1 an extra turn and then keep riding grade 2s, and he's going to have to ride to grade 3 just to keep up with the hand advantage, to keep guarding against all my extra attacks I'm getting with blue, and while I can control his board. And then I would just ride grade 3 in stride when I absolutely had to at the end to finish him off. And then so going into top 4, it was I was 4th place going into top 8, and then 1st and 3rd lost in top 8. So going into top 4, it was Sanctuary Guard in the 1 seed, me playing Thingsaver in the 2nd seed. The Great Nature player I beat in round 6 in the 3rd seed, and a Chronicle player in the 4th seed. And since they had added an extra round, everybody was really tired. We'd been there since like 9 o'clock, and at this point it was like just going really late because we were playing best 2 out of 3. This one thing I really like about ARGs. So it had been such a long day, and at that point, we all kind of decided just to go ahead and split the prizes and everything, and just take the seeds as they were. So I ended up getting 2nd. I was really happy. My only loss all day was round 1 against a teammate. So I was really happy with the turnout, and met some cool people. Met up with some friends. Our friend Josh Stallworth actually made top 8. Was the 1st seed going into top 8. Our friend Aaron made top 8 with me, playing Messiahs. We'll have an updated deck profile of his deck. And Matt ended up getting 10th, and Jeannie, who I lost to in round 1, ended up, I think, getting 14th. So, really great tournament overall. Had a lot of fun. And anyway, I think I've rambled on enough, guys. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching, guys. And this is Justin for Team Shenanigans, signing out.